Very, very sad state in Las Vegas. Not a fair fight.
Range from the age of 13 to 17. All are juveniles, and all were booked into the Clark County Juvenile Hall on charges of murder.
What a decision a parent would have to make to donate your son's organs. Honestly, think about that. So part of your son is going to be living in somebody else's body. This is senseless. Just absolutely senseless.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminally Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, coming to you with my pearl handle pistol cufflinks, board certified criminal defense lawyer that I am. Coming to you with our content genius, Michael Rivers. Today we're reacting to the news that eight young men were arrested in Las Vegas for the death of a young man, beaten to death over a pair of stolen headphones. Ugh, drives me crazy. Before we get to reacting to this news, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com, very effective way to remotely do business. Now, I'm not going to give you any kind of fancy or funny anecdote about my grandma or this or that, because those are kind of funny. But this episode is really sad, and I'd rather just be serious about eSign, because eSign is a very effective way to remotely do business. If you have any kind of document that you need signed, if you have a deal that you need done quickly, eSign is definitely the way to go, because you can get deals done super fast, and you don't have to be in person, because you can just have any kind of document, whether it's a business agreement or retainer agreement or bill of sale, anything you want signed, you can have it done at eSign. So go to eSign.com, you download the app, you get 3 free signatures a month. It's a very effective way to remotely do business. That's eSign.com, because if it's not eSign, no one signs. All right, so I'm going to read you a little bit of a news article. This is just flippin' sad. It just is. 8 teenagers were arrested Tuesday and booked on suspicion of murder in connection with the death of a 17-year-old who was fatally beaten near Las Vegas High School this month. Now, these kids range from 13 to 17 years old. And the kid that died was intervening because they were accosting another young man over a set of stolen headphones. His buddy got his headphones and a vape pen stolen from him, and he stepped in to defend his friend. These 8 young men, and I guess they're still looking for one other person. These 8 young men's lives were absolutely, we call it groupthink. They were altered by engaging in a beating of this young kid who died several days later. This happened on the 1st of November, I believe, and they just arrested him. Michael's aunt actually taught at this school. I can't tell you how stupid and really how the lack of thought some young men have. Well, before we get to my proselytizing, there was a press conference that they did on this. Let's take a look at that.
My name is Andy Walsh. I'm the undersheriff with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And I want to thank you all for being here today. And we're going to provide you and the community with an update on the senseless beating investigation, and now a murder investigation where the victim was 17-year-old Jonathan Lewis. And this occurred on November 1st, 2023. And I want to take this moment to just also recognize the work that the members of our homicide section have done once again to bring closure to a senseless crime that occurred in our community. I'm here today.
Now, keep in mind, several of these kids are, 17 years old and 16. And some of these, if you're 17, 16 years old, you can be considered an adult. And so what they're going to have to do is certify them as a whole separate process for that. 13 years old is a little too young. Generally, the cutoff is around, in Minnesota, it's 16, but it's you can be certified as young as 15, 14 years old.
To announce that we have 8 suspects in custody for the murder of Jonathan Lewis, and those 8 suspects will be charged with the crime of murder. Our work in this investigation is far from over, and we need all of your help as we continue with this investigation. And the reason I say that is many of you and many people in the community have seen the violent video that has circulated throughout our community via social media.
And that's the other thing. And they put it on social media. They put the beating on social media. Now, I don't know how many young people are watching this, but I know some parents are. Have a conversation with your children. Have a conversation with your young man. You don't. Once in a while, you see this stuff from women, but generally speaking, you don't. This is like a young guy thing. Just lack of groupthink, lack of any kind of introspection on what the fuck are we doing, lack of any kind of concept that tomorrow there are consequences. So what I want you to do with your sons, you can do it with your daughters too, but generally daughters have more of a sense of self-preservation. But do it with your children. Sit down and tell them about tomorrow. Tell them about tomorrow. Tell them what you do right now affects you tomorrow. And guess where these kids are right now? They're without the promise of tomorrow. These 8 guys and the young man that died is without more tomorrows.
And if you or your child or somebody you know has seen that video and recognizes anybody that may have been a participant in this senseless crime, you need to get a hold of us and our homicide section, like I said earlier, as we further our investigation. And on a personal note, I want to say, just as a parent and as a member of this community, is the video that's out there and the videos that we have mentioned throughout this investigation and that you've seen reported in the media, they're extremely disturbing. And this should be a reminder to all of us.
We're going to show you part of that here shortly.
To have those difficult conversations with our children and remind them that their actions have consequences.
Okay, did you hear what the sheriff just said? It's exactly what I just said. I have not seen this before. Talk to your children, and not just once. It's got to be a recurring theme. You want to build your tomorrows? Start with today.
Their actions have lasting consequences. Their actions have life-altering consequences.
I'm Jason Johansson, the homicide lieutenant with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. On November 1st of 2023, the Clark County School District Police Department, they responded to a report of a battery as a result of a fight. Initially, it came out at Rancho High School. Very quickly, in the initial preliminary investigation, it was determined that the actual fight occurred in the alleyway at 1308 21st Street, which, as you can see on the map to my left, is directly east of Rancho High School in close proximity. And it was learned that this fight occurred right after school had let out at Rancho High School, and it is believed that all members that were involved in this incident, whether...
I remember being in junior high and in high school and hearing about fights, and I was never in a fight myself. I always stayed away from that because I don't like to fight. There's no reason to fight if you can avoid it. This is senseless, just absolutely senseless. Probably 10 people's lives plus countless others, within families, knowing that their kids are in jail.
As witnesses, suspects, and victims were attendees of Rancho High School. We also learned that how the victim ended up back at Rancho was that after the fight occurred, he was laying unconscious and unresponsive in the back alley, and a citizen nearby saw him, began attending to him, and carried him back to Rancho High School, which is what prompted the initial 911 phone calls related to.
The cause of death was blunt force trauma. The manner of death is homicide. That's what the medical examiner said. A lot of times with these head injuries, and that's what this was a head injury, you don't die right away. It takes time for your organs to shut down, and that's what happened here.
This incident. Following medical's response, he was transported to UMC, where very early on in the investigation, it was determined that Mr. Lewis had sustained non-survivable head trauma, and that was when the homicide section responded, and we took over this investigation due to the extent of his injuries. The video that has been shared widely on social media, which I am not going to show today, but many people have seen it, is very graphic, and in my opinion is very void of humanity.
When you get a bunch of guys together, or a bunch of people, actually, you saw it with the George Floyd riots. It's just people get riled up and they feel this freedom to abandon their sense of right and wrong. And they feel that, they just go with the gut, and all of a sudden they do things they probably wouldn't do by themselves.
What you see in the video, though, is approximately 10 subjects kicking, stomping, and punching our victim, Jonathan, as he's on the ground, not defending himself. and to the point where he becomes unconscious. During our investigation, we quickly learned that the fight was actually over a pair of stolen wireless headphones and possibly over a stolen marijuana vape pen from incidents that occurred earlier in the week.
Are either one of those things worth it? They're not. They're just simply not.
We were able to quickly identify many of the subjects involved in the fight from the video that was taken and shared off of social media. As a result, we have identified approximately 10 subjects that were involved in the murder. 8 of those subjects we have been able to positively identify. On November 7th, our team was advised by family members that our victim had sustained, was currently medically brain dead, at which point in time they had made a decision to donate his organs. And yesterday...
What a decision a parent would have to make to donate your son's organs. Honestly, think about that. So part of your son is going to be living in somebody else's body.
During that operation, we were able to arrest all 8 subjects, and we executed 9 search warrants at various residences throughout the Las Vegas Valley. During those search warrants, detectives were able to obtain numerous clothing from the residences that the suspects wore during the attack on Mr. Lewis.
So one of the things that they're going to do is, they execute the search warrants. They do 2 things. One, you want any physical items that might be able to identify who is who in the video. And then also any social media stuff that they can get either from an iPad or from, electronic devices.
All subjects that were arrested in this incident range from the age of 13 to 17. All are juveniles, and all were booked into the Clark County Juvenile Hall on charges of murder. The case will now be turned over to the Clark County District Attorney's Office, who we've been in close coordination with, and we'll go through the normal steps of determining, going through the normal steps for them to be certified as an adult.
Now let's say, you were at the feet of this guy, and all you did was kick his feet. Doesn't matter. You're aiding and abetting, advising, counseling, conspiring, or otherwise procuring the behavior that's going on. You're part of it. And if you're part of it, you're part of one part of it, you're part of all of it. So just because you didn't strike the fatal blow does not mean that you are not liable for that crime. And then, like he said, they're going to certify the ones that are eligible to be certified as an adult. 13-year-old cannot be certified as an adult. Now let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about the people who are filming it. Are the people filming it aiding and abetting? If otherwise encouraging what's going on, they kind of are. So are they part and parcel of it? Are they aiding and abetting murder as they're filming it and posting it to social media and elevating it? One would argue that they are, and I'm sure that's probably the other people that they're looking for.
But through our PIO office, we will be pushing out additional pictures of 2 individuals that we have yet to identify that participated in the incident, and with the requesting assistance from the community with identifying them.
And tell me that a 13-year-old is going to resist talking to the cops about who these other 2 people are. They may or may not know, but they certainly are going to talk to the cops, I would bet.
Additionally, in closing, I just want to second the undersheriff's remarks. If you're a mentor with youth, if you're a parent, you have to assume that your kids have seen this video. It has been shared widely on social media. Don't put your head in the sand. Please talk to your kids about it and explain. People need to know right from wrong, and that this act was heinous. And as I mentioned earlier,
seriously, I can't stress that enough. Talk to your kids about consequences. They don't hear you. One time is not going to cut it. It's got to be a daily message. And they may whatever, but continue to put home that message of decency, of consequences, of what you do today affects tomorrow, because they just don't get it. And that's why, I always said, toddlers are dangerous, but you can contain them. Teenagers are fucking toddlers on steroids because, number one, they get more independence. They have vehicles. They go out in the world, and we can't control everything that they do. And all of a sudden, one thing that they don't have is a sense of permanency. They think they're invincible. They don't think that anything bad's going to happen to them. They have, they don't have any concept of tomorrow. And who knows if the person filming it is part of the action. Doesn't seem like they might be, but they might have just heard about this. But then he posted on social media and you sensationalize it. Not okay. So my heart goes out to Mr. Lewis's family, and and actually to the parents of these 8 children plus 2, who are looking at murder charges for a 13-year-old fucking kid. Murder charges. Guys, walk away. Somebody steals your vape pen, guess what? They're not expensive. You can go get another vape pen from someplace. You don't need to get involved in something like this. This is total groupthink, and they're all beating the shit out of this guy till he's dead. Very, very sad state in Las Vegas at Rancho High School, because not only there's 13 people probably plus that aren't going to school tomorrow. You got the 8 people here plus 2 that are kind of hiding out. Who knows where they are? So that's 10. And you got the people who are filming, and then you also have one individual who will never go back to school. I hate to see this, and I know you do too. So make sure you talk to your children, and we'll see you next time here on Criminally Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. See you next time on Criminally Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?